carrying. Instead of thinking them as a pain in the arse, basically, think of them as a gift for you to grow. Think of them as teaching you qualities that you can become a better person from. Think of all those people that you've got and they're all packed into your backpack. You sit down on the side, take your backpack off, and you look at all these people that are in your backpack and you think, can I help this person or can I not? In the end, they've got to help themselves, because you cannot change another person. It's up to them to decide to change themselves. And they can only change when they see the value in what you're demonstrating through your own behaviour. It's like chucking a little pebble into a still pool. Think of the ripples that come out from it. Your behaviour does that. You change your behaviour, you're the pebble in the pool. When you're a kid, you just grow up in an environment. Sometimes when you've got parents that can encourage you or invest in you, yeah, they do invest in kids. Spend an awful lot of money on their children, not just through toys and gifts that we've just been given through Christmas, but through education, encouraging them to, show them different parts of the world, give them experiences that they're never going to forget. And that costs not just money, but time and effort and your own thoughts, behaviours, actions. It's teaching you. They invest in you. And you look back on that period and you think, why are they like that? Why are they so bad? Why are they so helpless? Maybe I can help. Maybe I can teach them to go in another way. Maybe if I am this type of person, then they'll change. So you go out into the world and you think, right, I'm going to become a lawyer. I'm going to become a counselor. I'm going to become, some kind of big shot in the industry. I'm going to show them that I can do this so that they can see how good I am. And then I'll be able to save them from their own lives. It doesn't matter what you do. If they can't see it for themselves, then they're never going to change. People always say, if I sell this house and I go and live in another country, have a new start, so to speak, then I can have a new life. I can create something better, something new. But one thing people always forget, wherever they go, whatever they choose to do that's different, they'll always take their own emotions and mind with them. And it's that never changes unless you become aware of the person you are, the behaviours that you give, do, and the things that you say. And that's never going to change unless you become aware of it and realise that it's got to come from the courage inside of you to change that, to say, no, I'm doing that wrong. I need to figure out another way of doing this. So you can look at your parents and think, okay, I'll give them a better life if I become this person or do that thing. That's not going to work, basically, because you can't help another human being unless they're willing to help themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can look upon life as something that you've got to learn inside of you. You've got to break the curse. You've got to crack the code, so to speak, of your own life and figure out what it is that you're doing that needs to change. And when you change, you recognise your own behaviours, your own actions, your own things that you say, you'll see the ripple effect around you. I'm going to give you an example. It's like, say if you have a narcissistic mother and she keeps going on and on and on about something. Say if they say something really horrible to you and you feel it inside of you and you think, did they really say that? Instead of saying nothing, instead of just accepting what they're saying to you, all you have to do is ask them, to repeat what they just said in a nice way, not in a horrible way, but just say it in a nice way. As though you didn't quite catch what they said. So, can you repeat that, please? I just didn't quite catch it. And then what that does is it gets them to reflect on what they've just said. It gets them to pause. It gets them to think. And in that one instance, you've changed the situation. So their comment designed to make you feel bad, make you feel worthless, useless, not good enough, is like a demon of darkness coming into the room and saying all these horrible things. It's like the alien in Aliens, with Sigourney Weaver. And you're looking at it, and you're now in that contraption that she's got, and you're looking at that little girl that the alien's trying to get, and you're saying, that Sigourney Weaver line, "Get away from her, you bitch." I love that comment. It was brilliant. It kind of empowers you. It's like saying that, but in a kind, soft way. The alien then, the demon, whatever it is, the horrible behaviour, the nasty remark, turns its attention away. In Alien, it turns its attention away from the child onto the adult. It's turning its attention away from you onto themselves. So basically, chucking the pebble in the pool, and that's the reaction you get. And if you feel alone, if you feel worthless, if you feel unloved, just sit with that emotion. Just stay with that for a while and breathe deeply. Just breathe in and let it out really slowly. I think, why do I feel unloved? Why does nobody like me? I often say this little chant, this little song that I learned when I was at school. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I think I'll go and eat worms. Big worms, fat worms, teeny little worms. Finish it for me. Say it in the comments what the last sentence was. And when I think of that song, I think, no, I don't need them to love me. I don't need people to like me. I am me, and I'm trying my very best, just as my mother and father did, just as my siblings do. They're trying their best to live in this world. But I'm trying to do it without the hate, without the jealousy. It's a forgiveness, going back to that forgiveness again. It's like trying to use a metaphor that will connect with you, like being a boat on a stormy sea. And what you're doing is you're saying to the sea, calm down. I see a light, it's a lighthouse. I've got to avoid the rocks, and I've got to go into that little bay where the sea is calm and peaceful. So, amongst all this chaos that's going around you, all you have to do is breathe, forgive, let go, and then you've got peace inside your own heart. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. It doesn't matter the way they behave towards you. That's their behaviour. You need to be different. And when you see that, when you kind of like think, okay, I'm on this little boat in this chaotic storm, and I've just got to sail it through this storm to the peaceful, calm waters. And you do that by knowing how to do it, how to control that boat. And that boat is you. And the stormy sea is your family, your friends, the people around you that are causing all the chaos in your life. You are the navigator of that little boat in that stormy sea. And the key is to learn how to navigate, how to control that boat. You, basically. And that stormy sea is there to help you learn to do that. Help you learn to steer that boat. Help you to navigate your way through. And your soul has chosen to be in that boat, or be that boat in that stormy sea, so that it can learn to break that curse. It can learn to become different, reactively, through responding, not reacting. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Responding is thinking about it, considering, knowing that you've learned all about these things. As we've seen, they're all challenges that are presented to you in order to help you become a better person. Decide which way to go, which way to navigate this little boat. Or you can think of it as breaking you, making you drown in that ocean. You've been thrown into the water by your dad and you're suffering, you're struggling, and nobody's helping you. You feel so alone. You can choose that path, or you can choose the navigator path, learning how to navigate that boat and control it. It's what I've learned about changing me. I still make mistakes. You're doing all of this basically to heal yourself. Heal yourself from all these wounds. Not just physical wounds, but emotional wounds too. To release yourself from the curse. When you're in this environment with all these people that are not very pleasant around you, the stormy sea, when you're in that boat, trying to navigate your way through, their behaviour, their attitudes towards you, so you can look at, in your mind's eye, you can imagine your mum or your dad glaring at you when you're a kid, looking down at you with their big bulbous eyes, their pointy fingers and their loud voices, and making you feel so small and putting a wound inside your heart. That vibration all over your body is being sucking all that energy from them. And it's like a load of arrows are coming into you. Now, somebody has come along and taken all the arrows out, but what's left there is wounds to be healed. Not just wounds to be healed, but openings. There may be scars there. There may be pain and the suffering. But in that, there's a way for you to become aware. And that's what the wound is for, is an opening for you to become aware. It's like letting the light in, so to speak. But in order to heal that wound, you've got to put some horrible stuff on it. That hurts. Sometimes we don't want to heal that wound. Sometimes it hurts too much. Sometimes you just let the gangrene set in and start to let it fester inside of you, and it gets worse and worse and worse over the years. So instead of arrows, instead of knives, instead of bullet wounds or anything like that hurt your body physically, think of their words that the family members used. Think of their attitudes towards you. They're authority figures in your child's eyes. You think that what they're saying is true. So if they say you're useless, you're worthless, you're a stupid piece of shit, and you're not allowed to do these certain things because nobody wants you anyway, then you start to believe that. Sometimes your life can be so controlled by somebody else, so manipulated, that you end up not doing anything. I mean, I think of my mum. I really do feel the pain for her. While my mum endured right to the end, my stepfather chickened out and ended it before his time was up. And he left a few mistakes around in his wake. She used to drive around the whole country delivering cars to certain destinations, and then getting herself back from that destination by public transport or other means. Hitchhiking, I think it was in those days, in the 60s. And she used to have the confidence to do that. But as soon as she got married to Gordon, my stepfather, she stopped doing that. Her world became so much smaller. She lost all her friends because he kept telling her bad things about them and not really liking them, and criticising her driving. Every time she drove the car, he had something bad to say about her driving. And in the end, she gave up driving. Didn't have the confidence anymore. So she made her world small to suit him. And you think, okay, what a waste of life. She didn't confront the issue. She thought she was unworthy. She was a bad driver. She thought she wasn't good enough. So she shut down. And she even shut down towards the end of her life. Didn't even feed herself. Didn't think herself worthy of eating. And sometimes you can think, okay, why was she like that? Why did she accept what he did, what he said to her? Why couldn't she have said no? Why couldn't she have had the strength inside of her to say, I like driving. I like doing this. I like my friends. I'm going to keep them with me. I don't care what you think. If you want me in your life, then this is going to stay. Why didn't she have the confidence to say that? Because when she was a child, she was abused by her siblings. And what Gordon did, my stepfather did to her, just emphasised those feelings from when she was a child. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. You do this, I'm going to abandon you, I'm going to reject you, I'm going to make you feel so small. Nobody's going to believe you. They didn't believe her. She told her mother. Her mother didn't believe her. So she lived her life frightened all the time, trying to be happy. That's what she kept saying. I just want everybody to be happy. She was just trying to, in her own way, survive. But by saying yes to everything, she was denying herself. Denying the fact that she could have broken that curse. She didn't know how to. She just tried to survive the best way she could. She didn't act from a place of confidence. She acted from a place of pleading, begging, basically. It's like my mother needed to think of another way, needed to get the courage inside of her to say no. Ask yourself all the different things that your family have done to you. Think of the actions they've taken, the behaviours they've demonstrated, and the words they've said. And think, how has that made you feel inside? And what have you done about it? What has been your reaction to that? And basically, what are you hiding from? Why have you chosen to respond or act like this and be in this life that you have? Do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you resent the people around you? Do you live on regrets? So if you've got all those emotions inside of you, what can you learn from it? What's it trying to teach you? You think of the pain that you've suffered at other people's hands, and you think, okay, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about looking at their pain, their suffering, their grief, their sorrows, their anger. It's about looking at that and how it limits them from living the life they could have that would make them happy. People always want to be happy, don't they? But they don't know where that happiness is. They think it's in the things and the stuff that they have in life. It's like all these presents, these gifts that we've been given at Christmas. What do they mean after a day or two? They just disappear into the environment, don't they? Unless it's a horse. Can't disappear that very much. Or a dog. That anger, that bitterness, that those emotions that those people are showing you, demonstrating towards you, make you feel unworthy, make you feel bad. They abandoned you, so you feel it's your fault. It's internalised. It's put inside of your heart. That emotion's embedded itself in you. And that's where you've got to stop it. All the things that your parents have, or your peers, I should say, not just your parents, but your teachers, your doctors, your nurses, all the people that you looked up to. Think about that. Think, I don't need to. It's like people who self-sabotage. I used to do it. I still do occasionally. What does self-sabotage mean? It means that you start a project out and you think, oh, this is really good, I'm really excited about this. And when it turns out to be a failure, instead of continuing to keep at it and to mould it and shape it and change it to be something that is acceptable or successful, you give up. And I know that came from when I was a child. And I know you can't keep blaming other people for the way you are today, because I'm an adult now. I'm 60. I'm not 6 anymore. And I can't think with a child's viewpoint. I can think with an adult's point of view. I can think, okay, I'm not worthy, it's not good enough. That's what teachers and everybody kept saying to me. I kept seeing that on my school report. You must try harder. Or I'll give you an example. My own stepmother, she's a good woman at heart, I know, but it was just this one thing that caused that self-sabotaging nature within me. And I know that now because I've become aware of it. I became aware of it quite a few years ago. It's just trying to work through it. That's the hard thing. Trying to let it go, trying to forgive. It's the fact that I used to have a friend who had a stutter and a hump. So if I ever went out to her house, we weren't going to go out clubbing and chasing boys. We just went round to her house for tea and cake and a little natter, read of the comics and stuff like that. And I used to ask if I could go round to her house. Oh yeah, you want to go over to her house? That's lovely. Okay, yeah, you can spend the afternoon there or whatever. And I was looking forward to it really a lot. You know, like a child does, you're excited. You're going out to see a friend. Yay, spending time with them. And it's so nice. But either the day before or actually on the day, my stepmother would say, oh, you can't go. Oh, something's come up. You can't go now. And it became a little mantra between me and my sister. She's changed her mind again. We used to say that all the time. Every time we asked to go and do something, we think, she'll change her mind before the end. And so that kind of embedded within me a thought that whatever I want, I can't get excited about because it's not going to happen. See how it works? And so when you go up into adult life, you try these different things and you think, oh, it's not going to work. But you've got to stop that thought. You've got to work at saying, okay, that was then. Change your mind. Try your hardest. Persist. Pursue. Have resilience. Have courage. Stop those negative situations and behaviours and thoughts and actions and deeds and words and recognise them for what they are. Find the core of the issue and work on it. Think to yourself, I'm worth it. I have power. I can do this. But how do you do that? How do you do it? How do you say to yourself? How do you convince yourself that this has got to change? And the change has got to come from within me, not from them. Because I'm not going to be able to change them. I've got to change me. But unless you recognise and become aware of that fact, unless you have the courage to face the music, so to speak, then you're going to continue on down this road, giving up on things. How do you stop it? How do you break the curse? It's like I said at the very beginning, it's becoming aware, making yourself realise that you are not the person, or you don't have to be the person that these people say you are. Simples. Where have you heard that? Put it in the comments. Yeah. You can break that curse. You can end their behaviours being yours. You don't have to take that on. You don't have to avoid it. You don't have to have the same angers inside of you, the same sadness, the same emotions of, I just want to hide away from the world. I just want to get away. I'm not worthy. You can change all of that. Becoming aware of that mess, basically, is the first step on the ladder. Of this very, very long ladder. I told you it was hard work. The first step, that is. The second step is becoming responsible. Not for their actions, but your responses to their actions. becoming responsible for your own life, taking control of your own life, not theirs. Don't control theirs. Don't attempt to control theirs, because that only brings on a lot more pain when you try to control somebody else. It's like my stepfather tried to control my mum. He did. He succeeded. And her life suffered because of it. I don't think he had a very good life because of it either. But they didn't realise that. It's just a never-ending circle that didn't stop because they didn't become aware. Don't wait for anybody to say sorry. Don't wait for them to change. Don't wait for them to kind of like say, okay, you're a good person. Don't wait for their praise. Don't wait for their appreciation. Don't wait for their admiration. Don't wait for their respect. Don't wait for their love. As soon as you stop waiting for that and start living the life that you want to lead, that's when you set yourself free. They won't change. Accept that. If they've never apologised before, they're not going to start now. Let it go. Think of it this way. Go back to the boat in the stormy sea. Think of it as, what would it feel like to not be in this stormy sea? It'll feel wonderful, peaceful. It'll feel great. I can have everything I wanted. Peace and quiet and lovely relaxation. A safety net for my soul. So how do you get that? You learn to navigate your own boat. You learn the ropes, so to speak, in your own boat. You don't try to calm the waters like Jesus did. Okay, we're not gods. Although people would think that try to convince you are. We're not gods. We are part of the divine. We are his sons and daughters. But we can't be like, is it King Canute? Sit on the seashore and tell the waves to stop coming in. No. What King Canute had to realise was that nature takes its course and you can't stop other things. You only have to stop yourself. Think of their behaviours. Think of their attitudes, their words said to you. Okay, and if you can think of it as bouncing off of you, like you're protected by a big glass dome, and anything that they throw towards you, they're arrows of disgust, they're arrows of hatred, they're arrows of anger. Instead of them piercing inside of you, they're touching that glass wall, that invisible glass wall, and bouncing off, going back to them. And you're sat inside in peace. How do you get that peace? By looking at them and saying to yourself, it's not me. That's their behaviour. As long as you're truthful with that and you're not causing their anguish, and you can honestly say that, you're not doing that in order for your own satisfaction, then you can sit there in peace. You can let go. You can say, it's not my behaviour. It's not me. It's not excusing them from being the way they are towards you. It's just letting go. I'm ignoring bad behaviour and rewarding the good. Super Nanny taught me that. And that is a hard thing to do because you get entangled in the emotions. You want to react. That's what their provoking behaviour naturally wants you to do, so that they can validate that you're a horrible person. And that's where forgiveness comes in. It's not about saying, okay, I condone your actions. I accept your behaviour. It's not saying that. It's not about forgetting either. You can't forget it because it's embedded in your memory, in your heart.